sit against and what if you burn? Steam still. Yes, and then I just put it on. Yeah, I like that too. Yes. Yeah, you can. I think I have a lot of it.
Kristen? Sorry to put spot. Is the closest restroom down out in the front lobby? Really? Okay. Well, I'm glad I checked. Because I have never been up here to the bathroom. Is it around back here?
Just checking to make sure my stuff is still under my chair.
Do you want to go down, Joe?
Out here and back. That goes back. But behind the elevators. And then,
I'm here. Another successful dismissal. Just tomorrow, we're excited.
okay.
We're gonna get going.
Last person seated.
We're not ready yet. We're still waiting on one more student. That's how it happens.
Of course.
I'm gonna introduce you. Last. Do you remember in fifth grade when I was trying to turn it down and my hand was like shaking? I turned it down and then I turned it up. It was awful.
Oh, yeah.
Melody, I'm in the
We're ready. It's 3:30. Let's do this. Oh, wait, hold on. Yep. I'm just kidding. We're good. I just wanted to give you a heart attack.
Greetings and welcome. Hello, everyone. Welcome, family, friends, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, and our low residency Master of Fine Arts graduating class of 2025. My name is Sonia Bashibo Magnon, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer here at PAPA. I'm deeply honored and proud to be sharing this moment with you all. Please join me in acknowledging the lands on which we are gathered today, the ancestral lands of the LRMFA people, whose presence and resilience in Pennsylvania continues to this very day. To the graduates, you are now part of PAPA's unbroken line of incredible legacy of PAPA trained artists, teachers, and students. Those who not only received their training here, but developed a studio practice at PAPA. PAPA has been at the heart of contemporary art making since its founding in 1805, and you are a continued living part of that active tradition. As an artist, you not only possess creative skills and expertise, but you are critical thinkers, creative problem solvers, communicators, and collaborators. As you move forward into the next chapter of your journey, I encourage you to apply these skills, both in your studio practice and in your lives. Congratulations to all the graduates on your accomplishments. Your thesis exhibition looks incredible. I know there was a tremendous amount of hard work that led to this show. As I visited your open studios and saw the formation of your exhibits, this is like the most exciting part for me, seeing the finished product. So congratulations, it looks wonderful. You have had to endure obstacles personally and collectively on the local, national, and global levels. You have endured and grown over the course of your study, and in the process, you have earned the respect and admiration of your faculty and members of the PAPA community. Over the past 2 years, you have carried out material explorations, learned new techniques, mediums, and considered new and old concepts as you collectively found your individual paths and the way these paths intersect with your time here at PAPA. Your work bears witness to these different narratives, reflecting the wondrous and challenging complexity to the contemporary worlds, representing a spectrum of perspectives that embody and are embedded in the visual work on display. The space resonates with the ideas that you have shared with each other and with your faculty over the course of your journey through the graduate program. The work also reflects your conversations as part of the learning community, and you have created during your time here at PAPA, taken risk, and expanded your practice. You have grown as artists and as individuals, and you have built a community of peers that will remain with you on your journey into the future. Congratulations to the class of 2025. I would now like to introduce the chairman of our board, Mr. Don Cotwell, who will give a few remarks.
Let me repeat Sonia's welcome. I know this has been a pretty extraordinarily difficult year for many of you. As it's been a year of transition here at the Academy, and looking forward to continuing our legacy of training some of the world's great artists. Well, it's been a while since we only offered a certificate program, but we're back there, and I think it's going to begin a new era that we can all feel proud of. We've launched 2 new programs this fall, Foundations and Studio Residency, along with the continuation of the low-res and post-baccalaureate program. You have all persevered in the face of much adversity. That makes your accomplishment something of which you should be very proud, and certainly worth celebration and recognition. You've now joined an extraordinary legacy of wonderful artists, from Cassatt to Bow, to Bacon, to Tanner, with quite a string. and you should be very proud to be part of it. Congratulations to the Board of Trustees, the esteemed faculty, and all the dedicated staff. Congratulations.
Thank you, Don, and thank you, Sonia. I am Dr. Kevin Richards, and I am the chair of the graduate programs at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. The low residency MFA class of 2025 has had to endure a lot over the past 112 weeks to arrive at this point. They've had to face what were perhaps known demands that could have been anticipated, such as the challenges posed by the curriculum and the resultant studio investigations, including material explorations, new ideas and concepts, questions about their mediums of choice, the subject matter that they are engaged with, and how to navigate the world beyond the studio. They have embraced these challenges concerning their practices and techniques, transforming themselves and their work through navigating the curricular demands marking the past 7 semesters of study. Yet, they have also had to contend with phenomena that could not have been anticipated. Not only a world in tumult, but more locally the decision to wind down the degree programs at PAFA. As a result, this graduating class bears the burden of expectations that may come with being the last class of degree recipients from PAFA for the time being. In addition, they have had to contend with a dwindling community of students as each cohort before them graduated, as well as dwindling numbers of staff and faculty to support them through their journey. Despite these obstacles, to say nothing of the individual obstacles that each of these students have had to pass through, their achievements and growth as artists are both evident and all the more remarkable, and in the process, they have each shown the skills and tools that will help them negotiate the next stages in their respective careers. The work in their thesis exhibition, Discontinuity, bears witness to what they have achieved and how they have grown collectively and individually as artists over the past 26 months. It is also the result of remarkable dedication to their studio practice, buttressed by the unwavering support of their friends, family, partners, and classmates. In addition to their individual efforts and the support of friends, family, and partners, the work in the galleries also bear witness to the efforts of the faculty and staff at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. And I want to acknowledge the faculty that have worked with and inspired our students during their time of study, including Tom Cesar, Renee Folks, Eileen Neff, David Dempey-Wolf, Alexis Brownwell, Matthew Delegate, Amy Lee Ketchum, Mark-Andre Robinson, Doa Lee, Stephen DeFalla, Kate Moran, Erlen DeFard, and Michael Gallagher. In addition, incredible support has been provided by the shops and facilities at PAFA along the way. And lastly, an extra special thanks raised to the nth degree to Kate McCammon and her tireless efforts to support both students and faculty. There she is. I'm trying to figure out where you are. Hi. She helps make everything possible, and we all appreciate her timeliness and attention to detail. We are all greatly in debt to her diligence and commitment to our institution. I would like to now introduce our graduation speaker. As among the faculty who our students had an opportunity to work with was David Dempey-Wolf, who returns today to speak to our graduating class. David is a Philadelphia-based artist, animator, musician, gallerist, and educator. He received his BFA from the University of Pennsylvania, along with a certificate in sculpture from the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, and received his MFA from Columbia University. He has participated in various group exhibitions, including exhibitions at the Contemporary Arts Center Cincinnati, Locke's Gallery, Tiger Strikes Asteroid, the ICA in Philadelphia, and the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. He has been a resident at the Whitney Independent Studio Program in the Skowhegan School of Painting and Sculpture, as well as currently being an artist in residence at the Penn Center, not the Pain Center, although there is a Pain Center, Penn Center for Neuroaesthetics. He has taught at a number of institutions, including the University of the Arts and the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. He was an integral member of the collaborative exhibition space, Basecamp, and was the co-founder and co-director of Marginal Utility. He has collaborated with jazz musicians such as Jason Moran, Miguel Zanon, and Emmanuel Wilkins. His work combines found film footage with drawings, paintings, and other media to create kaleidoscopic videos that engage both formal and philosophical questions around perception. His videos and installations probe questions around the limits and slippages marking human perception, drawing upon philosophy, poetry, film, and literature, as well as other fields of creative inquiry to pose his own questions about how we see what we think we see. Through this interdisciplinary approach, David analyzes phenomena such as peripheral vision, stereopsis, and mental imagery. As an educator, he has left his mark on countless students, helping to open their practices and minds to new ideas and questions critical to sustaining their studio practice. Please join me in welcoming our graduation speaker, David Dettinger.
Hi, everybody. It's so nice to see all these friendly faces. I know so many people in space. It's really great to be together. Hello to Deanna, Ruth, Austin, Ken, Dora, and CX. It has been an honor to work alongside each of you. I'm truly thrilled by your accomplishments and congratulate you on making it through the program. It's been a wild ride. I thank the family and friends who provided all kinds of support during these past 2 years. And y'all did a great job. The exhibition looks amazing. I can't believe you took up the entire floor. Really. Very inspiring. As you know, we are living through historic times. In the 1992 book, The End of History and the Last Men, Francis Fukuyama argued that with the global spread of liberal democracy after the Cold War, ideological evolution had reached its final form. Drawing from Hegel, Fukuyama proposed that no viable alternatives remain to democratic capitalism. But he also warned that this so-called end might foster political complacency and spiritual enemies. He was so since then, the resurgence of authoritarian regimes, nationalist movements, and democratic backsliding has challenged that thesis. One manifestation of this backsliding is the closure of this very program. As you all know, this is the final graduate commencement, and I mourn what is being lost for the city and for the world. Founded in 1805, Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, PAFA, is the oldest art museum and art school in the United States. Over its long history, PAFA has weathered financial crises from the brink of bankruptcy in the 1830s to major budget restructurings in the 20th and 21st centuries. The institution has taken bold, sometimes desperate steps to survive, mortgaging buildings to acquire key artworks, launching civic fundraising campaigns, and adjusting operations to meet new economic realities. Yet through it all, PAFA remained a vital cultural anchor in Philadelphia, continually redefining its purpose while staying true to its core mission, supporting the creation and study of American art. The school's curriculum has evolved in step with shifting ideas about art, labor, and education. Once rooted in conservative academic traditions, focused on life drawing and anatomy, PAFA gradually embraced modernist experimentation and conceptual approaches in the mid-20th century. By the 1970s, the curriculum expanded to include studio majors in painting, printmaking, and sculpture, alongside critical theory and contemporary art history. I taught critical theory classes for PAFA. It was a great experience. Later decades welcomed new media, performance, and social practice. Each evolution mirrored cultural debates about what art is and who it serves. Though the decision to close the college program in the 2020s marks a painful turning point, PAFA's educational legacy endures in its exhibitions, public programs, and youth outreach. PAFA has also played a key role in expanding access to art education for artists of color. In the 19th century, it was among the first American art institutions to admit Black students, including Henry Asawa Tanner, whose foundational training at PAFA helped launch an extraordinary international career. In the decades that followed, alumni such as Laura Wheeler Waring, Bartley Hendricks, and Jonathan Lyndon Chase helped reshape American art grounded in Black life and cultural innovation. Today's PAFA's commitment to inclusion continues through its collections and programs that celebrate the contributions of historical underrepresented artists, affirming its role as both custodian and agent of change. I came to know about PAFA through my friend Joe Chauncey O'Neill, who enrolled in 1991. We met at Bucks County Community College. Inspired by him, I took a continuing education painting class while living in a small room at the Washington's Crossing Inn. I don't know if anybody's ever been there before, but that was interesting. I wasn't able to finish the class. My life at the time was too unstructured and chaotic. Art helped stabilize me. I enrolled in the certificate program in 1993 while still in my early 20s. The MFA program was still in its early stages, and PAFA drew students who could paint and draw. I learned as much from my fellow students as from the faculty. I remember a foundation year sculpture student made a double-ended candle suspended horizontally like this, depicting time burning forward and backwards at once. It was so good. That was the first conceptual art project that made sense to me, and I realized you could kind of think through form. Certificate students such as Heiko Blankenstein, whose woodcuts of life-size figures demonstrated a remarkable value range, testament to the representational skills honed in the cast hall. I recall David Schroeder's deft control of subtle color, Marc-Andre Robinson's ceramic Frederick Douglass monument, Sarah Peters' fusion of antiquity and Art Deco, Marina Borker's transparent oblique perspective collages, and Alex Minot's anatomically correct, oversized flea. It was about this large. It was perfect. It was made out of packing tape. These works were formative for me. Everyone striving to make the best work possible. No excuses. Graduate and certificate students mingled in the old Cherry Street building and the 12th Street and 12th and Wood studios. I remember when Nancy Lewis, who was a student in the MFA programs, set up a skateboarding date between Al Sheets and myself. We became close friends and eventually neighbors. Through them, I was drawn into a world that included Astrid Balby's psychological forms, Hiro Sakaguchi's paintings of his family, David McShane's graphic photo murals, and Eric Harlan's paintings of memory, plus many others. These encounters pulled me deeper into contemporary art, and it's the exposure to the MFA program as an undergraduate that helped me with that. In 2001, 3 years after graduating, I collaborated with Basecamp, a group of PAFA recent alum, including Justin Matherly, Scott Wrigley, Lee Stevens, and myself, to stage Dirty Deeds Redone Dirt Cheap in the Morris Gallery. The outgoing curator invited us to perform an act of institutional critique. We didn't really know what that meant at that point. We just assumed that it meant roast the institution. As students, we witnessed patterns of institutional sexism and racism. And in response to this, we created a large canvas tent and a four-sided diorama depicting the school's history, an angry and loving roast of the school's history. Looking back, we were like impatient teenagers, furious over the elders' statements and hungry for generational change. One element of the installation featured a cacophonous audio recording of longtime Professor Dan Miller provocatively reading aloud the school's desublimated histories. The docents hated that show. After base camp, I left Philly for New York to attend graduate school and immerse myself in adventures within the art world. To my surprise, somebody reached out to me from PAFA about covering a critical theory course. And I was surprised that they'd hire me after the Dirty Deeds show. But it was Dan, actually, who was running the department. I was asked, and I ended up teaching here for over a decade. In my teaching years, I think back on days full of critiques in the low residency program with Kevin Richards. On the last day of the semester during the pandemic, of the summer semester during the pandemic, we were in the final critiques, standing masked, just the two of us, facing a student who was just another face on a laptop screen. We took turns engaging with the work, threading it through currents of continental theory and contemporary thought. Those are well-spent days, using critical inquiry to process our relationships with the troubles of the world. It was really therapeutic teaching at that. Kate Moran, earning your trust is no small feat. I don't know if I have yet. You speak the truth to students, and they respect you for it. You have the courage to be a tough teacher, and your critiques push students towards stronger studio practices. I remember one MFA critique where I was nervous to speak. I was a younger faculty member. And the floor had been held too long by three long-winded men. I leaned forward, but you gently tugged my sleeve and gestured to three women who hadn't yet spoken. Since that moment, I tried to speak last and to hold space for all voices. Michael Gallagher, you've made a powerful impression on generations of students. Once back in 1995, between PAFA's buildings, you pulled me aside and told me that I wasn't working hard enough. That mix of gentleness and challenge pushed me back into the studio. You were right. I still don't think I'm working hard. After being laid off, I worked as a publisher, videographer, art handler, curatorial advisor, freelance writer, and collaborator with alumni such as C.J. Stahl, Jacinta Clark, Emily Elliott, Ava Hates, and C.X. Tynan. Judith Schechter, who I met through PAFA, who's an instructor here off and on over the past 30 years, recently recommended me for the Neuroaesthetics Artist Residency at the University of Pennsylvania, which explores the cognitive and neurological basis of aesthetic experience. This challenge, this residency, is informing a new show that I'm developing for Practice Gallery in the Calville neighborhood in December. Wink, wink. If anybody's around, you see it. PAFA's impact on the Philly art world is vast. David McShane and Yuri Jones, a powerhouse in the mural arts program, have left their mark across the city. Sarah McEnany has rendered the Calville neighborhood in ed tempora for decades. McEnany helped form the Calville Neighborhood Association to stop a proposed Philly stadium, and later co-founded the Reading Viaduct project. One person organized the neighborhood to push back against the city at work and shoes and products. It was nuts. That's amazing. The MFA program lives on through the Automatic Gallery, originally funded by PAFA's Venture Fund. The Philadelphia Animation Ensemble, which was formed at PAFA, is having the Philadelphia Animation Fest this November. Through the journal Teleporter that I co-founded and co-edit with C.X. Tynan, which is also supported by the school. So the school lives on. We carry these relationships with us in the studio or in sketchbooks on buses. I'm still arguing in my head with artists I haven't seen in years. For example, are the edges of vision bent or straight? Should linear perspective curve like a fisheye lens? We haven't come to a conclusion on that. What do we share as artists? What do we value in our compulsion to make art? In my seminar, we always read Paul Celan's Meridian. Salon describes poetry as an ethical encounter, a meeting that resists ideology, linear time, and closure. Salon's speech reminds us that poetry and art can bear witness after rupture, reaching towards the other in language. To quote Salon's speech, "This always still of the poem can indeed only be found in the work of the poet who does not forget that they speak under the angle of inclination of their being, the angle of the inclination of their creatureliness." I read that as the always still is a moment of time encapsulated in the production of a work or in a photograph. We speak and make through the angles and inclinations of our social, cultural, and bodily situatedness. What does it look like through your eyes and imagination? Back to Salon. The poem is even more clearly than previously one person's language becomes shaped, and according to its essence, presentness and presence. The poem is lonely. It is lonely and en route. Its author remains added to it. But doesn't the poem therefore already in its inception stand in the encounter, in the mystery of the encounter? I read that as language becomes shaped. Mental and visual images become drawings, paintings, digital and three-dimensional objects. The poem and the artwork are lonely. We often labor in solitude. But then in the mystery of the encounter, obviously the exhibition that we're situated within, our work finds others. Back to Salon. The attention the poem tries to pay to everything it encounters, its sharper sense of detail, outline, structure, color, but also the tremors and hints. All this is not, I believe, the achievement of an eye competing with or emulating an ever more precise instruments, but is rather a concentration that remains mindful of our dates. Attention. Permit me to quote here a phrase by Malebranche via Walter Benjamin's essay on Kafka. Attention is a natural prayer of the soul. Attention is a natural prayer of the soul. Artists and poets approach the world through neurodiverse perspectives. Speaking of, yet we are all part of the same constellation of histories and counter-histories. The character which we translate our experience into focused attention through art making is the soul's natural prayer. What do we face alone and what do we face together? I planned this. Attention. From Walter Benjamin again. Humanity's self-alienation has reached such a degree that it can experience its own destruction as an aesthetic pleasure of the first order. So the challenge is that. With AI-generated images proliferating, we are once again challenged to prove our own humanity. What can't be replicated? These tools are here to stay. Students already use them. Chatbots serve as therapists, editors, research assistants, and other things, as friends and companions for the lonely. But how might we use this technology to not just make images, but to reflect on how we think and to help fix this broken world? Climate change has reshaped the concept of landscape. Pristine images of nature now point to a lost paradise. There are microplastics in my watercolors and in our bodies. This isn't just a metaphor, this is materially real. We are living in a time of rising authoritarianism. Museums shuttered, government interference in the arts, funding for science and culture slashed, critical race theory and decolonial thinking weaponized against educators and artists. Our work will be judged in the context of these claims. And yet, we make art. Whether in large light-filled studios or on scraps of paper, art remains a space of refuge and resistance. Think of Henry Moore's underground drawings during the Blitz, sheltering in train stations. He sketched the bodies around him wrapped in blankets. More states. I've never seen so many reclining figures Even the train tunnels seemed like holes in my sculpture. In that moment, shelter became sculpture, form emerging process. Let your work buffer you from life's pressures and also reflect the deep currents of your aesthetic home. Please take care of yourselves and your communities. Stay in touch. Come visit me at Marginal Utility 2C Books when you're in town. I'll always be glad to share field notes. You're my community, and I appreciate you deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, David, not only for all of your thoughtful words shared with our students today in the audience, but also for all that you've provided our students over the years as a critic and seminar instructor, and all that you provide viewers with your work as an artist and beyond. We turn now to the announcement of the award winners, followed by the conferring of the MFA degrees to our new class of graduates. First, the low residency MFA program is fortunate to have 2 awards to give out to students graduating this year, plus an additional prize thanks to PAFA's Alumni Council. The first award is the O'Neill Rubin Award. The O'Neill Rubin Award was established in 2017 through the generosity of board member James O'Neill and his partner, architect David Rubin. The award recognizes a graduating student from the low residency MFA program for the excellence of their presentation and the strength of their artistic efforts over the course of the program. The O'Neill Rubin Award goes to an artist who creatively transformed everyday materials into a fantastical installation of beings and creatures seemingly from another dimension, perhaps proximate to our own. They combine humor and critique in considering the impact of late capitalism on our existence, finding in the sensitive response of art a way out from the confining forces of institutions. This year's recipient of the O'Neill Rubin Award is Carter CX Hyman. The second award is the Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award. In memory of beloved PAFA student and artist Kathleen Bunke Frame, this award was established through the generosity of Bunke's family and friends. The Bunke Frame Memorial Award is given to a student who exemplifies the tremendous spirit, positive outlook, and generous nature embodied by Bunke. This year's Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award goes to 2 students who both traveled many miles in their journey through our program, supporting their classmates and each other along the way. They helped to spur on conversations and lend moral support to their classmates both when in residency on campus, as well as over the distance that online semesters entailed. This year's recipients of the Kathleen Bunke Frame Memorial Award are Deanna Chillian and Kenneth Randall. Lydia Hamilton Brown, the president of the Alumni Council, to present the Low Residency Alumni Council Award.
Before I begin, I'd like to really reflect on what David was discussing. Because as I came in tonight, I looked around the room, and I know a lot of these people. I studied with a lot of these artists. Back in 1974, when I graduated from the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Art with my Scheich Award, I thought that was probably the best day of my life. However, when I came back to earn a postbac and an MFA, I found out that more best days of my life would yet to come. And I'd like to thank David and Kevin and all the faculty that I was so grateful to be able to enjoy once again. And Kate, yes, it was a hard time, but I made it. And one little note about Kate, we did this thing about collecting cones or whatever it was. I forget the lesson, but I really messed it up. And it was probably the most humorous class she ever had. But it was just so much fun to learn the different things and the different approaches of each and every one of these instructors, and how lucky you are to have known them. So, good afternoon, and congratulations to the class of 2025. Be proud of your achievement. It is no small feat. As creative individuals, you are a positive force in today's world. And I echo what Don said, all of you are now part of a wonderful alumni group. Distinctive artists like Thomas Akins, Mary Cassatt, Maxfield Parrish, Cecilia Bowe, the first woman to teach at Papa, Barclay Hendricks, and of course, David Lynch. As president of the Alumni Council, I welcome you to the alumni of the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. And this isn't the end. The Alumni Council will continue. We have programs planned, and we aren't going anywhere. So I welcome anyone to join the council or become what we call the advisory board. We're trying to make it grow, and we have a lot going on with our mentor program. The Low Residency MFA Council Award is selected by members of Papa's Alumni Council. The recipient is chosen for their achievement in their discipline and to exemplify those qualities which define an outstanding student. Council members Brian Speeds and Dave Cade joined me for an open studio night. We visited each student and had the opportunity to learn more about their practice, their background, and their experience at Papa. We all agreed it was one of the most enjoyable open studio nights. It was an intimate evening of thoughtful conversation with students and faculty. We then discussed our nominations to present to the council. Members of the council reviewed websites and social media, and we had a very lively discussion. Then we all agreed. It is my pleasure to present the Papa Alumni Council Low Residency Award to Dora Sa-Win-Young.
Thank you, Lydia, and congratulations, Dora. Next, I would like to acknowledge the accomplishments of all the 2025 Low Residency MFA graduates. In presenting each student for their degree, I will say a few words about them and their work. As I say your name, please rise, and after I briefly introduce you, come up to receive your degree from Kate Moran. Deanna S. Chillian. Deanna's practice combines a two-pronged stratagem of material exploration and intellectual investigation, using these methods to raise questions about memory and experience. Not only personal memory, but also cultural memory and experience. In terms of process, she looks to how everyday materials, wire, paper, string, and other items may be pushed and transformed into something that evokes and provokes associations with natural forms, as well as forms that abstract or try to envision what lies beyond our vision, touching on the microcosmic and worlds within worlds, the spatial logic of a dream. She utilizes the speculative space of art to pose questions, pondering whether paintings can dream of an escape from their two-dimensional world, or how to have a viewer slip from reality and into a dream and back again, and how to envision the workings of neurons and other phenomena that strain the limits of representation, while simultaneously providing very structures of possibility for such phenomena. Her work ponders whether one can be in two places at once, past and present, or present and future, questioning what it would look like to be in two places at the same time or being two times at the same place. And can the psychic reverberations of trauma be felt and communicated over the course of generations? In the midst of these quandaries, her work explores memory and memorial, connecting through materials and processes with not only familial generations of the past, but also with artists from the past, as she negotiates her own narrative of raveling and unraveling worlds that have been woven by others generations before. On the edge of consciousness, her abstractions probe realms only on the cusp of consciousness, both above and below, the hinge of consciousness, a transformation of conscious reality through another screen or lens, just as her everyday materials slip from recognition to abstraction, on the verge of recognition, as only art can do. Thank you, and congratulations, Deanna. Ruth Hamill. Ruth's work explores how there is no place like home, that the home is a construct that we are born into that begins a process of socialization, one that in a patriarchal society reveals itself early, even before the entry into language, doing so through constrictive roles, both active and passive, that are played out in family photographs, rituals, routines, household magazines, and societal norms. A pattern of constructions and constrictions that dissolve into the fabric of our daily lives. This process of socialization, taking root before language, haunts consciousness, marking identity even before one can make identifying marks. Once one begins writing, one does not attain identity, but rather one begins inscribing oneself through a language that orders and is ordered through institutional force. Forcing a replication of and capitulation to models of behavior, engendering behavior through both words and images. Ruth's work explores these questions, not only exposing the patriarchal traces in language through her interventions in a phallo-logocentric culture, but also how this authoritative language that normalizes male agency may also be traced out in what may seem to be the most innocuous of settings, the beach, the pool, family get-togethers. In investigating family photographs, old magazines, gigging fabric, and other cultural detritus from her childhood, Ruth maps images and patterns that may seem familiar, may seem to be the very part of the comfort of the familial, to bring out the strangeness, their tensions, and the harbingers of dynamics that culturally reverberate across the generations. And in this process, generating works that offer two narratives to trace. The first is a technical narrative around collage and printmaking, one that may elude the viewer not familiar with the mediums, marked by precision and calculation, as well as visual play as her collages mine, and undermine printmaking tropes. And the second is both a personal and cultural narrative around the ways we are socialized, marking us from birth as being routed for distorting and damaging structures that do not provide the space to be, defamiliarizing familiar through her careful process of layering and reprocessing images. Thank you, and congratulations. Austin Suleiman Jai. What holds a building together? Often overlooked materials and processes, items that disappear to give the appearance of an environment built for humans. But what of the tools used to build these environments? Do they work, or are they as imperfect as the human designers of these tools? What spaces are missed in the process of building a structure, and what materials give evidence to the mistakes, errors, and very possibility of making a structure sound? These questions hover around Austin's work as he considers not only what holds a building together, but what holds the people who occupy these spaces together. Through tape and other related materials culled from the realm of construction, Austin creates formal investigations of what is possible with materials intended for a singular purpose when rerouted through the purposiveness without purpose that art provides. In this process, what was once functional becomes art, even as Austin's work explores the limits to this functionality. His work plays with human perception and the human touch, finding ways to articulate a level of creative touch through processes that sometimes remove the hand, while simultaneously adding the touch of the creative hand to materials and processes often devoid of individual agency. Between the fabricated and prefabricated, Austin finds a space for human consciousness to escape through the cracks, fissures, and slip-ups that mark any mechanical process, that provide a space for human contemplation, even within a world of mass production and mass products. Austin finds in moments overlooked, both at construction sites and domestic homes, signs and fissures marking their manufacture. Whether they are the imperfect edges and gaps left by painterly tools or other remnants marking imperfections and waste in the building or maintenance of a structure. These moments of intervention allow for Austin to experiment, not only with non-traditional tools, but also considering the way that the human hand, how human consciousness may intervene in these situations, sometimes making them more functional and sometimes making them something more than merely functional, sometimes making them into art. Thank you and congratulations. Kenneth Donnell Randall. Kenneth's work explores blackness, both within the contemporary moment and historically, seeking dialogues with ancestors while speaking to audiences yet to be born, all the while trying to find a space within a world of art, a world of the white cube that has marginalized people of color, echoing the larger institutional forces too, marking and marring our society. Because a force is a force. We have the power, right? Yeah. Kenneth utilizes painting, sculpture, and found objects to create works that start from his world and experience, a world of music, creativity, and joy, even against a backdrop of oppression, racial hatred, and systemic failings. And from that emotional perspective, gazes both backward at generations past, even while being hurled forward towards a future of unknowns. In the process, he utilizes both traditional and non-traditional techniques to create narratives that pick up on and pick at the dominant cultural modes marking the West, picking at festering historical wounds, while challenging them by considering how these dominant modes have been built upon oppression and domination. In navigating these struggles, Kenneth relies on his imagination to create insightful connections to other artists and events of the past, while also finding through contemporary figuration ways to open up a counter-narrative delineated by the great African-American artists of the past, forming a tradition that questions the direction of society, even while speculating on possible futures yet to come. Kenneth tries to imagine these places and spaces in his work, finding in art a terrain where past and future may meet, where joy may be sought, even as the struggles of the past are recognized and made visible. His work offers hope within a climate that may at times seem hopeless, drawing upon the power of art to envision realities that have not yet been realized. Beyond figuration, he finds in the rawness and historicity of everyday materials, bricks, and personal objects such as a trumpet, opportunities to open up narratives touching on personal experiences while utilizing these materials to speak to larger societal questions. In addition, abstraction lends another dimension to his work, providing temporal allusions to the past as well as the future, while finding a space within the flux for something akin to a communion with ancestors from the future. Thank you, and congratulations. Dora Ann Savignac. Dora uses portraiture to create empathetic responses to her experiences with the individuals who sit for her. Drawing upon the tradition of the portrait, from antiquity through to the Renaissance and beyond to the modern era, Dora explores a space between representation and abstraction, one where patterns and patterning take on symbolic forms and still life objects become personal. Her process involves a meeting of individuals, often negotiated through music, pointing to the different avenues for bridging to the spiritual realm that art may transport us, especially when the transportation takes the form of forgetting the I, capital I, and navigating the we, of trying to understand or represent the other. In these face-to-face encounters, Dora not only tries to empathetically depict her sitters, letting their identities, tastes, and interests come to inform the forms and symbols populating their portraits, she also finds a way to impart her own identity and perspective onto how she approaches her subjects, with respect, but also at times humor, pointing to the fallibility marking each human differently, finding within her sitters echoes of the people they once were, as well as the people they will be, even while capturing a moment in time. Her forms combine a sophisticated eye and hand that knows a number of technical ways of making a work, whether in paint or ceramics, with a creative imagination that looks out for moments where the correct gives way to the true, where an imperfect form perfectly captures the attitude and character of who she is depicting, where a playful slippage from rendering to abstraction points to how her portraits are not simply portraits, but transformative works that bear witness to the encounter between artist and sitter. Her work is a testament not only to painterly technique and the potentiality of the portrait, even in the age of the selfie, but also of how painting lends itself to the exploration of the self, of questions surrounding not only the imponderability of the self, but of the other and otherness that one encounters in the portrait, in the face-to-face marking the making of the portrait. A vessel for giving representation to vessels bearing what cannot be represented. Thank you, and congratulations. Carter CX time. Where am I? Who am I? If I know what I am not, is that a good place to start? What signal do I signal? What sign do I sign? And what do I sign with? These and endless others would seem to be the questions raised by CX, an interdisciplinary explorer, utilizing an array of materials to form sculptures, paintings, animations, and other works that may chart or document unexplored territories, both within outer space and inner space, as well as the spaces between. They question what a body is and how a body coheres in an alien atmosphere, in a society that alienates, alienation as an inalienable and alienating substructure, one maintained through language, institutions, and thoughts, leading to interminable negotiations with what it means to be and be a being. The entities populating their work point to realms unknown and an imagination trying to contend with words and worlds beyond our comprehension, but perhaps not beyond our empathy. Through their sensitive mindfulness concerning opportunities for material convergence, CX combines elegance and rawness to bring territories yet to be discovered into our sights. Deterritorializing and re-territorializing everyday materials and even their packaging, marking the way that language marks the body, even as artists use language and image to sound a space beyond such stable institutional categories like identity and body. They map regions echoing tropes from science fiction to open to larger fictions that hold reality together, gathering in their process an array of entities that may not be known, but know that there is somewhere else that they may belong, if only they can arrive there. Through language, poetry, and imagination, CX finds in their materials ways to bring these beings forward to our realm of perception, even while utilizing humor to mask the serious and seriously unresolvable questions, sometimes cosmically comic, being posed at the core of their universe. Thank you, and congratulations. One last round of applause for all of you. This concludes the commencement ceremony. Congratulations to the class of 2025 and best wishes on all your future paths, collectively and individually as artists. It has been an amazing experience getting to work with all of you over the past 2 years, and you all have made incredible strides as artists and as individuals. Please join us for the opening of their thesis exhibition, Discontinuity, that is being housed on this floor, as well as the Broad Street studio adjacent to the museum entrance. Thank you all.